Alright, more character creation. I wanted to get the creative process recorded because I thought it would be fun and be fun to share with everyone. And so right now I'm creating a new character for the new chapter I'm about to write, which is the 30th chapter. And this character I'm creating, his name is Bastimo. I don't know, I just came up with the name Bastimo. And Bastimo, he is a sea merchant. Not exactly a trader, but he's more like, he goes out to sea and then he tries to go somewhere, sell his wares. And yeah, so he's a sea merchant and I guess you could say he's turned into a criminal after being robbed by pirates. Um, and given that he's kind of now a criminal, now he's in a position where he wants to exercise his power of being oppressive and unlawful. So he'll be introduced in the 30th chapter, and I'm actually going to write the 30th chapter in his point of view. In the 30th chapter, it's going to be about him coming to Hindon with his crew, and I guess them being there and him kind of being turned criminal, they're going to start doing unlawful things and oppressing their power. But of course, since the port town of Hindon have been preparing for, raids by bandits and such, they're a bit more prepared for unlawful characters coming along to town. So he does have to face that as well. So Bastimo, let's think of this character. I guess the underlying theme with him when I bring him in is that he acknowledges now that he is now in a different position of power. He's no longer just like a little merchant, a little salesman trying to make a little bit of coin. Like now he understands like, oh wow, now I'm something bigger and stronger. Now I can, wherever I go, no matter what I do, I can get away with it. Because who's going to say otherwise? I'm strong. No one wants to mess with me and the peoples I got around me now. So, when he comes to Hindon, he doesn't really want to be bad, because he does want to go to Hindon because he's looking for a place like for a bit of peace and quiet and rest. I'll explain a bit of that later. But, he wants to do his own thing and kind of get away with it. So he's exercising his power of oppression. And, he's really comfortable with that now. He's now taking charge of his life. Because before he was a small time, but now he's like, oh, you know what? I'm sick of, always being walked on and like walked all over. It's about time I take my life into my own hands. So that will be like the main underlying theme with him. What he doesn't see, which is another theme that I'm going to bring with him, is that, fair enough, he's in this new state of mind, new position, but justice will always be served in life. Eventually and in time, he'll get what's coming to him. If he decides to be bad, he decides to be good. I don't like to use those words, good and bad, but that's going to be another thing that he has to deal with, because as I write this character, he's still developing in himself. So they'll kind of be like the lessons he'll learn. He'll learn about justice and how life likes to balance itself out. Me personally, I believe life is like that as well, and I believe in things like karma and stuff. So maybe we could say karma is the lesson, one of the underlying themes that he has to face. Alright, so when we bring him into the chapter, because it's going to be through his point of view, he comes to Hindon and he wants to do what he wants. He wants to exercise his oppression. He's come here. it's not like he comes and he starts trouble because he's looking for trouble. No, no, no. He just wants to, he does approach the town just thinking, we can come in here and, me and the crew, we sail in here, and yeah, let's just have a nice time. And they do what they want and such, but the a bit of the crew, they're a bit loose. You'll find out why, and he has to deal with that. But at the same time, he's like, you know what? This is my crew. We can do whatever we want when we come here. We want this. Why do we have to pay for it? We want this. Why do we have to, follow the rules here? We want to go here. We want to go there. We can dock our ship here if we want. We don't have to, sign permission or like register that our ship is here. Because who says our ship is supposed to be out here in the waters anyway? Yeah, he's trying to take charge of his life. Maybe not in the best way. But yeah, so he comes to Hindon and, he wants to take charge of his life, his crew, and, be more authoritative. But the challenge he faces is because Hindon has like recently been dealing with bad characters coming in and all that. The town's a bit more prepared for trouble coming their way. So he eventually engages with a town that he thought was going to be small and quiet. They're actually fighting back and they don't want him to get away with just whatever he and his crew are doing. Pretty much he meets resistance, and as the chapter goes on, he starts to meet more resistance, especially when he faces William Krugel. That's Roger's father. Roger's father, William Krugel, he was introduced in the second chapter of this story, and he's like, he pretty much plays the role of the father figure most of the time for Roger. Roger is one of my protagonists in my story. He's a young boy as well, so Roger's father always just plays the father figure. He looks after the town and stuff, but you don't know too much about him. But in this chapter, through Bastimo's point of view, he recognizes who William Krugel is. And he remembers and respects who William is. So when he has to face William as resistance to his new oppressive authority, he's conflicted. He's like, damn, this is serious. Like, I can't just walk all over William and William's town. Like, this is some serious shit. So that's, a big challenge he has to face. I might do a character creation or like a detail video also about William Krugel as well, just to introduce that character a bit more, because I don't mean, as the writer, I shouldn't be saying this, but as the chapters go on more and more and more and the story unfolds more, you start to realize what a big shot William is. And William actually has like a big history, and it's actually quite pivotal to the whole story. Because in my story, I was planning to write a prequel whole story of like what happened before the time of all the protagonists. And William is a very big, he's pretty much going to be one of the protagonists of the prequel story. So I'll pretty much have to make a character creation video for him too. I might do it after this actually. But yeah, so Bastimo comes into town, wants to show that he's a big dog and wants to prove he can get away with things, but he meets resistance. And then he also meets a big resistance like William, who, you think that, an old man, he's gone and he's out of the picture, but when you come to an old veteran's town, it's not that simple. There's challenges to face. Alright, so let me go through some more notes that I wrote. Alright, so about Bastimo. Bastimo, he was a merchant. And let's just say he wasn't doing that great, but he's been a merchant his whole life. Like, he's made his coin. He's moved here and there, trying to sell this, sell that. Like, I haven't decided what his main wares will be, but he's lived his life pretty much trading and selling, trying to set up shop wherever he can to make money. He hasn't always been too successful, and sadly with him, he faced a lot of oppression, I guess, which is why he wants to be oppressive now. Let's say he faced a lot of losses and he got walked over a lot. Like, people were always stepping over him, taking advantage of him. He just wasn't winning all the time. And he pretty much grew fed up with always losing in life. Especially since recently what happened was his ship was robbed by pirates. And, when that happened, he got fed up and he's like, man, I'm sick of all this shit always happening. And he kind of came to the choice of like, you know what? I need to get revenge. I need to get these guys that stole all my goods. Because we could say that recently he acquired, some good coin, some good wares, and then he had to run into the damn pirates, and they took his shit, and he just been walked over his whole life, where he's just like, you know what? Fuck this. Let's get these guys. Because he felt life has always been unfair. And he wanted to take things into his own hands. So he and his crew, they found where the pirates were, or where their base was, which is a port. It's a dock in the Midway Isles. I explained in the last video what the Midway Isles were. And so they raid this port. Eventually they kill off the pirates. They kill off the pirates that were responsible for his losses. And in that, he faces other pirate crews about as well. But these pirate crews, they see, hey, this guy is crazy. He's killing people. Like, let's not mess with him. And he eventually sides with them because like he's not like a complete twisted guy. Like, now I'm just gonna kill everyone. He knows like, oh, these more pirates. Like, do they want problems as well? And they're like, hey, we got no problems with you. What's going on? So he sides with them. And eventually you see that he captures this port area. And in capturing this port in the Midway Isles, which is it's actually a really good location as well. He's a merchant. He wants to make money. And he's got more hands now because he has these pirates with him. He turns it into a trade port where, more trade can run smoothly in the Midway Isles. So he starts to become very successful in his coin, in trade, and getting his port running well. So, he becomes very well off. But at the same time, since he learned that, hey, I can actually take matters into my own hands and do things, he gets comfortable with being more oppressive, being more of a bully, getting what he wants. Because life's just been so unfair to him. So even though he had established this now profitable, fruitful port for trade, he also feels like he's got more power. Because, hey, look, I've got several pirate crews with me now. My crew that always helped me with my sailing and my trades as a merchant, they're with me too. I've got a lot of influence. So, you know what? I feel like I can get away with what I want. What he eventually faces in the future, because, he's already established a good thing. Like, he doesn't realize with what he's got around him, he has the potential to grow what he has, what he's established, into something even greater and better. Possibly establishing contracts with other countries and nations, maybe stepping up further into the trade world and not just, controlling this little port that used to be a pirate base. There's a lot of pirates around as well. So like there's a big opportunity that will come to his face. But that's if he chooses to see this opportunity coming to him. Because at the same time, he's learned, I can take charge and I can be oppressive and get what I want now. So he's blinded by his lust of power, in a sense. But I haven't written anything about him yet, so we'll see how that unfolds for him. But that's what I have in store for him. I have in store for him that, there's going to be a big opportunity where he can make a huge establishment, or do something great and amazing. Like, he's actually getting to that position where, wow, he can make a huge impact in his universe. But of course, justice, karma, it's one of the things going on that he needs to always learn and deal with. So we'll see how that goes for him. So, more about Bastimo. So, since he was always a merchant, in his mind, he's always got that mindset like, oh, I'm a merchant. Oh, life's hard, so I gotta, make as much coin as I can. I gotta, hold on to what goods I have. I gotta, try to save up as much money as I can. He's always got this mindset where, he has to hold on tight to whatever he has and not be too, not too frivolous, not too, what's that word? Where you spend too much. He shouldn't, like, he always wants to hold on to what he has, because he's always been a lowly merchant. It's just like suddenly when he decides to get revenge, take over this port, establish this something, he's gone through this big jump from like being nothing and something small to something actually big now. His mindset is still like very small, very, I guess you could say, stingy. And he just wants to hold on to whatever he's got. So that's, some detail about him. But what he doesn't realize, he knows that now he's rich, now he's well off, now he has people. He's actually grown so much in such a short time span that it hasn't consciously gotten to him that, wow, I'm actually successful now. Because sadly for him, being, a small merchant, unsuccessful his whole life, he kind of still lives in this scarcity mindset. And with that, he's still kind of stingy. He's still kind of, he doesn't like to make big plays. He doesn't like to do big deals. He likes to just, keep hold of whatever he has or whatever he gets his hand on. Whatever he gets, whatever he attains, whatever he grabs, he just wants to keep onto it. Whether he dealt these things fairly, or whether with his new, big dog mindset of being oppressive, and he oppressively takes what he wants to keep it all for himself, because he still has that scarcity mindset. With that scarcity mindset as well, sadly, that's one of the main drives as to why he is oppressive. He feels like, oh, I've been beaten by life so much, I need to gain what I can, I need to take what I can, because I don't have enough. Even though he sees, with his new established port, like, wow, he's rich, he's wealthy, he's got connections, like, people respect him and what he's built now. He sees it, but he just doesn't accept it, or he hasn't completely accepted it, because it's all just happened so quickly for him as well. So you could see that's another one of the challenges of his character. I guess one of the things he needs to understand and learn in life, given the big sudden changes, is that unexpected changes happen in life all the time, and they can come quick. And rather than just always being down and out and being a bit negative, because he's still got that scarcity mindset, he's still a poor little trader. He should see that these unexpected things that come in life, they're opportunities to grow. They're opportunities to make a difference, make a change, make a better change, make a bad change. But yeah, that's what he needs to learn, really. Things change. His position changes. His wealth changes. His relationships change, especially unexpectedly. It's not like he planned for it. He's a merchant. He plans like, oh, I've got to sell this, and then I'll get to this, I'll get to that. He's still in that small time mindset, even though at the same time, with his new power of oppression, you could say, he's got that big mindset as well. He's going comfy with being a big dog, I guess, in criminal activity. All right, more about Bastimo. So with Bastimo, a lot of things around him are changing all the time, and there's just so much change, so much happening. Everything's fast paced. He's involved with the new lands, the Midway Isles, and big trade coming up. A lot of countries are getting more into maritime life. So that lifestyle of being at sea and all that is really growing, and maybe he doesn't completely understand it as well, but he's in a place where things are changing constantly, and things with him are changing constantly as well. And yeah, especially the fact that now he's just been plunged into a more authoritative position. He needs to learn to adapt to all these things, because sadly with him, like I said, he's still got that small mindset. He just hangs on to what he's comfortable with. He sticks with his guns, and he just knows oh, whatever I know, I'm just gonna go with that, rather than really learning, all right, this is now happening around me, these things are changing, people want to do more trade, maybe I should adjust to the fact that I can do more trade. People want to get involved with me more, because he's not used to that. He's not used to so many people getting involved in. Before, he just used to set up a little shop, and whoever walks by and wants to buy his wares, maybe he can do that. But he doesn't realize so many things are changing around him, and he needs to learn how to adapt and really see all the choices that are before him. Because let's just say, with everything changing so fast around him, he's confused. He's really confused, and all he knows how to do is just stick by what he knows. Sadly, it's that small time mindset. Just gotta be careful. Or I don't know. Oh, that looks like that's gonna make me lots of money, I'll go with that. He just sticks to what he knows. And sadly, now that he knows that he can take charge and fight even unlawfully for what he wants, he kind of sticks with that as well, which is not always the best thing. Because remember, karma is always about. He wasn't built for that life of crime. He's just a sea merchant. So if he wants to stick with that role of being a big time criminal, I don't know, man, things might come to him. Yeah, so let's think more about Bastimo. What other notes do I have? So with all the learning, all the changes that are happening around him, where he should be adapting to things that come before him. What he really fears, because he's the type of guy that just sticks to what he knows. He always keeps on his safe path where he doesn't want to take big risks or try big things. One thing he is always scared of is when he gets put into a position where he has to make a big choice. Especially like a binary decision where it's like, oh, I have to either do this or do that. He's always scared of that because he's, let's just say, he doesn't have too much courage in him. Fair enough, now he's learned how to take charge, but he's still a bit timid. And when it comes to making big decisions, like, he's always worried about that. He's not used to being in an authority position. But he's trying to find his comfort in it. So he always fears, those big decisions, like, especially the big binary ones. But what he doesn't understand in himself as well is, like, he hopes for these things to come to him. He hopes that he will eventually get into these positions where he has to make a big decision. He doesn't maybe consciously accept it, but he knows, all right, once I'm in this kind of position, he knows, like, oh, that's when I have to make a change, because it prompts him to act. It prompts him to actually make a decision that will cause change for him. For example, the things happened with the pirates, and he got robbed, and his whole crew were like, you know what, man, we're always around this guy, and he's always just like losing. Like, maybe we don't want to stick with him anymore. And he kind of got that pressure, and he just felt like, man, I got to do something about this, man. Everyone wants to leave me. Everyone's always walking all over me. He felt like he was in a position where, like, now I got to make a choice, man. I could just keep going the way everything's going, or I can make a difference. And then he decided, fuck it, I'm gonna get revenge. I'm gonna get what's mine and take it back. So in a sense, he acknowledges that when he actually gets into these positions of big decisions, it actually causes him to act and change. So it's an interesting detail. In the chapter later, when he's trying to be a big dog coming around this small town, and then he has to face William Krugel. That's another big decision that he has to make. And yeah, in a sense, like, it's a good thing for him, like, but of course he's scared, because he gets scared when he's in these positions, because it's like, oh man, oh no, what do I do? Oh, I can't just stick to what's safe right now, because I'm not in that position. I'm in a position where I have to choose this or choose that. I can't take this. There's no safe route for him to fall comfortably into. And I guess we'll say in this chapter, sadly, because he's so comfortable with his new power of being oppressive and all that, that he decides he decides to kind of stick with that because he's comfortable with that. But inside, of course, he knows, like, he doesn't really want to be a criminal, and he doesn't want to face the well-renowned William Krugel and cause trouble there, because he understands, like, yo, there's going to be massive repercussions if we do this. William is one of the baddest motherfuckers out there. I better not screw around. And yeah, so he makes a decision to keep himself and his crew safe, but he still wants to prove that he's a big dog, and he doesn't go about it as best as he can. And we'll see how karma deals with him there in his development. Alright. Yeah, so that's the details I have for the character of Bastimo. And I haven't gotten to writing the chapter, but let's see how it goes.